Yeah.
Be like, oh,
Um,
yeah.
what was it? You introduced
Alright. What's up, guys? Here's another episode breakdown of Wandavision. Uh, I'm Will, and I got Mike here with me.
Hey, how's it going? What's up?
So we're here to review episodes 6 and 7.
So, not a whole lot really happened in 6 for me. We got to find out what would happen to the Vision if he tried to leave the Hex, which was surprising to me. I was hoping that he would be able to function outside of the Hex, but he started to deteriorate back to his regular body, and that gave me more questions than answers, actually, because I thought, like, if Wanda can manifest these children and create beings, like, does that mean Speed and Wiccan can't exist outside of the Hex, or like how come she can't just make Vision whole again, kind of thing? We found out the ulterior motives of, what is his name, Harkness? No, what's the guy's name?
Hayward?
Hayward. Yeah, we
Yeah.
found out Hayward's real intentions and why, like, he wants Vision's body for some reason, wants to get him back online,
Mm-hmm.
and he really will do anything just to get Vision back. Um, we found out. Oh, what's your theory on Quicksilver?
Well,
My guess is he's Mephisto
I,
slash
s-
Ralph.
I saw that theory a lot. And, like, a big question is, like, if this isn't the Fox Quicksilver, then why use Evan Peters? But I was very confused, obviously, after the Halloween episode, since I was nervous. I was like, oh no, like, maybe it's not. But then after watching the latest episode, seeing how he's just been being controlled by Agatha, it makes a lot more sense that she did pull him from another universe, and she's just mind controlling him to, like, like, play like her brother, and, like, ask, get in, like, close with Wanda, and, like, have a real conversation that Wanda really can't have with anybody else.
So your theory is
It's still the Fox
he
Quicksilver.
was, yeah. So he was taken from the Fox universe, but it's not Fox Quicksilver in the way that it's Agatha is in his head.
Yeah.
So when Wanda is asking him questions and he's deflecting, and it's coming off as if he doesn't know anything about what would be common knowledge about Quicksilver from the MCU, it's because it's essentially Agatha in his head, kind of thing.
Yeah, so he's just like that because they, like, obviously MCU Quicksilver died saving Hawkeye's life, and, like, that was a big deal, but then he's just like, I died in the streets like a chump for no reason. It's just,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think she's just, getting the old Hawkeye treatment of just being mind controlled for now. Then hopefully when all this is over, we get the actual, like, him acting like he did in the X-Men movies. That's my hope
Yeah.
and most likely theory, as I don't think if it wasn't meant to be Fox's Quicksilver that it would be.
I do agree with that. I think that would be the best option for sure. That way we could still have the multiverses,
Mm-hmm.
right, going on, and not just a creation of a fictional being. It would make sense because, like, to dip into episode 7 a little bit here, when it's Agatha all along, you see in, like, the intro, she's, like, controlling him with her powers, right,
Mm-hmm.
like, behind his back. So a lot of people are taking that differently. Like, some people are like, oh, like, she created him and that was her created him at the door and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, no, it's definitely, I definitely like your theory of pulling him out and then mind controlling him. And so that post credit scene, then, to jump ahead,
Mm-hmm.
when he says Snooper's gonna snoop, do you think he's no longer being controlled by Agatha and him and Monica Rambeau are going to go help Wanda? Or do you think he's still being controlled by Agatha?
I think he's still being controlled, and he's kind of like, her henchman finding that
Yeah.
Monica's like breaking in. So I feel like Monica's also going to be trapped with like Wanda at the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah. Going back to episode 6, the Halloween episode.
So yeah, it did evolve the story with expanding the hex and finding out Hayward's intentions. But I really enjoyed the episode. I was really looking forward to this one, and like seeing the comic accurate suits, and especially when Quicksilver jumped in his and Wiccan in his, and it did leave off very confusing until we got episode 7.
Yeah, it was like, well, first off, when Vision's going through, and the closer he gets to the border, the farther away he gets from the center of the power source. People are becoming less and less controlled because Wanda, who we're assuming is in control at this time, her control, the closer you are to Wanda, the more control she has over you. The farther you are from her, the less control, the less concerned she is with you. We have people literally frozen doing one task and crying because they can't stop doing that. But then we have Agatha in the outskirts in a car, and before the whole episode 7 reveal of what's going on, you know that Agatha's not supposed to be there, and it's like, wait, if there are people even closer to Wanda than Agatha, and they can't even speak, how is Agatha able to babble on about random things, right? And it's like, oh, she's pretending, she's not actually mind controlled, and like, this is the vibe you get when you watch episode 6, and you're like, no, she's playing the Vision for the fool right now, and yeah. So then in episode 7, you see that reveal, and you're like, yeah, I was right. But it's just interesting that she's like also manipulating Vision as well in a way, and I don't know why she's doing that yet.
Yeah, like it's gotten to a place of uncertainty for me. Like I'm expecting, like I don't know what to expect, since every episode so far I've been like expecting a little bit more, but from here I'm very much looking forward to it, since I really don't like know exactly what they're going to do. Then in episode 7, the Fly on the Wall, and Mephisto is introduced in the comics as a fly. So do you think that's just setting up Mephisto for the next episode, or?
So that's the thing. A lot of people, there's like a whole bunch of people that are like, oh, it's not going to be Mephisto, it's going to be Nightmare. There's a bunch of people, oh, it's not going to be Nightmare, it's going to be Mephisto. And then there are people that are like, well, Kevin Feige's probably just going to take both characters and squish them together, right? So it'll be like, but they're essentially the same character anyways, and they both have the same people that they fight. I think Mephisto is probably a more common name with the older crowd, and Nightmare's a more common name with the younger crowd, because I think Nightmare appeared in a lot of the more recent like Spider-Man and Avenger cartoons, whereas Mephisto appeared more in media for like the millennials and the Gen X's and whatnot, right? So I still think it's Mephisto based off of your whole fly thing. Like, it doesn't matter because they're essentially the exact same person with the exact same powers. Like, Mephisto in the comics was able to hold Galactus captive in his realm, and Nightmare was able to hold Eternity in her realm, and they're both Eternals, so they both have the power to hold eternal beings. They both have the power of time control. They both have the power of omnipotence. They're essentially the exact same character. So I don't care who it ends up being. Whatever name they use, it doesn't matter, because it's the same character. It just depends on which name they decide to choose. Which name's cheaper to use for Kevin Feige, I guess. So
also I saw a theory, because Agatha's magic is blue. And the last time we saw like a blue type magic was from Dormammu, and since this is tying into like kind of the Doctor Strange world, if she's like, kind of an apprentice of him or something like that.
Yeah, I would say no. First off, I think I'm colorblind because I saw Agatha's powers as purple.
Well, like Dormammu was like a bluish purple, like he's kind of had both, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's a possibility. They put a lot of attention to detail in everything, like little hints everywhere. Like you were talking about with like the business card, like in Ant-Man and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and like Jimmy, woo, got the card and everything. Like it's like finite details that you would not recognize,
Yeah.
and they do it. So it could be.
Also, the commercial for the Nexus antidepressant, and as we know, Nexus is kind of like a gateway through alternate dimensions and such.
Yeah, I played a lot of Marvel Heroes online when that was a game before they took it down, and I was like, "Oh, the Nexus! No way!" So I was like, "Cool." That actually, going back to episode 6, the '90s episode, the Malcolm in the Middle kind of thing. The commercials, um, when it's like the Yo Magic yogurt and the guy
Mm-hmm.
can't get it up, and then he just dies. I was like, wait, I'm like, is this like referencing that her magic isn't working throughout the episode and like she's trying to use her magic but she can't? And then it got me thinking about our old theory about the commercials, and I want to scrap that theory. Obviously, we're done with that. But I feel like each commercial deals with a traumatic experience in Wanda's life,
Yes.
and it goes all the way up, and then in the '90s episode we see that current trauma that she's going through, and the second time I watched it I was like, is it hinting at Vision? Like the kid dies and turns into a
Mm-hmm.
skull, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, is she trying to keep Vision alive but she just can't? And what was the commercial? Yeah, it was the Nexus commercial, right?
Yeah.
So episode 7, I think it's like a foreshadow of future trauma, future struggles that she's going to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because episode 6, like episode 1 through 5 was all past trauma. Episode 6 is her current trauma. So episode 7,
Would be future.
there's it would be future, and then the Nexus. So we haven't gotten into the Nexus yet. That'll be like a Doctor Strange thing with a hopeful return of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange in WandaVision. I'm predicting this. Hopefully it happens. Yeah, that's probably. Do you think the Nexus will open up, like, in WandaVision, or do you think it's something they're going to address in Doctor Strange? Like, why do you think they're dropping Nexus now so soon?
Um, well, yeah, it's just going to be obviously open to the next few things coming, like either Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, or Loki, all dealing with dimensional things. So it can very well open in any of those, or maybe like WandaVision ends with like the Nexus opening type. Also, Paul Bettany confirmed that the person that he was excited to work with has not been revealed yet. So it's not Evan Peters, and he also said it's not Benedict Cumberbatch. So I think we're still expecting a pretty major, well, like Elizabeth Olsen said, like a Luke Skywalker and like Mandalorian type cameo or character appearance. So I'm still hoping for Magneto.
Yeah. Well, as we discussed in the last video, Sir Patrick Stewart said he turned down an offer to come do it. But as we also said in the last video, how many times have we seen people say they weren't doing something and then all of a sudden, boom, it happens in the Marvel movie, right? And you're like, oh, hey, it was a bait and switch.
Like how
So,
the title of Endgame was not in Infinity War, they claimed. And then recently Tom Holland had to claim that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire won't be in the new movie. Which we
even
don't
though
know
they're
yet, but...
filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously they straight up lie to us to, like keep the surprise alive, which, I do appreciate in the end, instead of be like, oh, this is going to happen, and then it
Yeah,
happens.
appreciate that very much.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I would prefer Magneto over Professor X because unless it's both of them, but purely for the fact that in the X Men movies, it was hinted that Magneto was Pietro's father, but never actually revealed. Or I guess I never saw Dark Phoenix, so I don't know. But
I know that hardly had Evan Peters in it at all.
yeah, so I just feel like
No, I feel like
that
it.
would really bring things together with Wanda and Pietro and their father, and then they'd be like, "Oh, but you're not our dad," and it would be like, "Well, from another universe, he is." Like,
Yeah, because in Days of Futures Past, Quicksilver is unaware that like Magneto is his father, even though like working next to him, and then he's like, "Oh, you can manipulate metal. My mom once knew a guy who could do that," and like very much hinting that it is his dad.
yeah.
So for
That's the hint, right? Never
yeah,
fully revealed, but hinted at.
so for him to come in, that'd make me very happy to see the family together.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, it's like it's not important to happen, but it's something I would like. But Marvel does that from time to time. Like in episode 6, when Wanda is like, "Why do you look different, Pietro?" And then they're talking about how both characters of Quicksilver are different. And then when he walks away, she says, "Kick ass."
Yeah.
And that's my favorite because both characters that played Quicksilver were in the movie Kick Ass. And it makes me
Yeah.
so happy.
No, I really love that since you're like, yeah, kick ass. I'm like, kick ass.
I was like, why does he? And I'm like, oh, right. Because they were both in the movie Kick Ass.
Yeah, it makes up for the lack of Sherlock jokes with Benedict Cumberbatch and RDJ.
Right? I do think that the next 2 episodes and the rumor of a possible 10th episode, things are going to get real intense. I had to sit down with one of my buddies, and he basically like laid out like exactly what this is going to do, and it just blew my mind. And like it was so much to take in that like I don't even want to explain it to you myself. Like I'm gonna try and get Jaren on here to explain it. Like it's like next level. Like he's like based off of everything that we know through Wandavision so far. He's like this is what's happening for like the next like 5 MCU movies, and it's just like and like his reasoning of why it's going to happen is amazing. And this is the guy that like he like he every prediction he's ever done like 5 years in advance has ever come true. Like he's so in tune. So I gotta get him on. Like oh man,
I'm very excited. I'm sad that there's 2 episodes left since I feel like there's so much more. But the last 2 episodes are supposed to be pretty crazy. So
yeah.
every episode after each episode, I just get more excited for the next one.
Oh, same.
uh,
What else can we dive into? Oh, we have Monica Rambeau's powers now, which is great.
yeah. I thought, well, obviously each time through the hex, she develops a little more since like her X-rays, you couldn't see anything, but now, as you saw, like with her kind of using her powers, it's very exciting, setting her up for like the Captain Marvel sequel for like them to team up. But they also have to deal with, since it looks like there is kind of tension in between Monica and Captain Marvel at the moment, since she said something like a few episodes back when they were talking about Thanos and like, oh, like Captain Marvel came pretty close to like knocking her out or defeating Thanos. So
Yeah, no, we know tensions are there. The possibility that someone brought up said that she blames Captain Marvel for her mom getting cancer. Don't quite know how that really
Yeah, unless
works,
yeah,
but
unless it wasn't actually cancer, but yeah, I
mm,
obviously there's a lot to be explained. So
nice. Hayward, that's his name, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, I
I
just don't
think.
care about him. Do you?
Well,
Yeah,
he's terrible. He's a terrible man.
yeah. Do you think he isn't who he seems to be? Like, do you think he could be like Nightmare or Mephisto or something, or like just another ulterior being that wants something out of it, or do you think he is just a generic U.S.
Asshole.
soldier that just wants to weaponize Vision for America?
Yeah, I'm like, man, they're just reusing plot of Iron Man 1 again, of this guy secretly wanting to, use and sell weapons. I have seen theories that he's a Skrull or from, like,
Huh.
a different universe already, but, I don't know, I think he could just be, like a douchebag military man or, like one of the evil Skrulls. An interesting thing we can talk about that I just forgot. Colin can cut this part as I try and remember it. Um, God. Right. The aerospace engineer is supposed to be someone pretty major that
Oh,
they like keep talking about. Like Monica keeps, and she's like, "Oh, like I know someone who's like an aerospace engineer." So there's series like it might be Reed Richards or Hank McCoy or
yeah,
someone along those lines.
yeah. The theory is Reed Richards, and someone said before he gets his powers, but I'm like, what if he already had his powers and we just don't do the Fantastic Four origin because we've done that twice already, right?
The old Spider-Man. So yeah, if Kevin thinks 2 times showing it is enough, then they very well could have their powers when we meet them. That would
Yeah,
explain it, and so like they're not like new heroes. I'd kind of prefer that since we all know like what happened to them by this point, and they could just like reference it, like like Toby, not Tom Holland does.
wasn't the Fantastic Four tower in one of the movies already? Like just the tower?
It was so in Homecoming, when they're moving like the Avengers Tower, it was rumored to either be the Fantastic Four Tower or Oscorp. So we're yet to
Okay,
see if that's
okay,
turned into anything. So it could be the Fantastic Four Tower by now if they.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that could be the person that he wanted to work with, right? Reed Richards, like Kevin Hite or whoever the person was that was like, oh, I was so excited to work with this
Paul
person.
Bettany, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Other thing, speaking of Reed Richards, that was a part of the thing that Jaron was talking about. The other thing that I'm going to butcher completely is the rumor is that Spider-Man's lawyer in the next movie is Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like not costumed, right?
Yeah, like just Matt
But
Murdock.
yeah, so but the theory is that Matt Murdock will costume up as Daredevil because he's currently working for Nick Fury as a Skrull detector because he can sense like who's a
Ah,
Skrull and who's not a Skrull, right?
hmm.
And oh shoot, I forgot what movie he was talking that was going to happen in, but it's like all but confirmed kind of thing that like he will be suited up as Daredevil, working alongside of Nick Fury and Sword.
So would that be in the Secret Invasion series that
Yeah,
they're going to do then?
that's probably what it was. The Secret Invasion
Because that's yeah.
series. Yeah, and then oh man, he got into Armor Wars, and it was just it's nuts. Trust me, just we have to do like a separate video of like what's next for the MCU and get Jaren to just talk. Like it's nuts.
That'd
Anyways,
probably actually get some views.
yeah, but yeah. Anyways, back to episode 6 and 7. I think we pretty much covered everything that's
Mm-hmm.
important. I'm excited for. Let's do this. What I'm excited for the next
Okay.
episode is what I hope happens. I hope Vision doesn't die forever. I hope, because in the comic books, they bring Vision back to life at one point, but he doesn't have any memory, and he's basically like just like Vision 2.0 kind of
So
thing.
just be another Groot, how Baby Groot is like the next Groot. That's not the same.
No, it's like when they bring Vision back, his memory's wiped. So it's like Vision, but starting from square one, and all the plot development is gone.
Yeah,
Character development's
like they
gone.
did with Groot.
I guess. Did Groot fully grow up by Infinity War? I can't remember. It's like a teenager.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's the same. Yeah.
Because it's the same character but different character
memories
because
are wiped, yeah.
he's different.
Yeah.
Or like it, yeah.
I wasn't under the impression that all of his Groot's memories were wiped. when he
Well,
became
it's a
baby.
new. James Gunn said that Groot's sacrifice at the end of Guardians Galaxy would mean like nothing if he just sprouted up and it's the same guy. And that's why like it's emotional for like Rocket to lose Groot is because like he raised Groot this time and like it's a new Groot. Anyway,
Okay.
not the point.
Yeah, not the point. Yeah. So I really hope that we just get Vision 2.0, and I hope he doesn't die forever. Well, I guess we already have Vision 2.0 because he's alive again and he has no memories. But
It kind of be the same thing, less cheesy, hopefully.
yeah. Why is Vision so funny this time around? Oh, because somebody's in his head controlling him. I hope Mephisto shows up. I hope it's not Agatha is the only bad guy.
I don't
I'd be
think so.
disappointed.
Like
I'd be
they've
disappointed.
obviously been hinting at Ralph for a reason. It's
Yeah.
not just a throwaway joke. Like Ralph is someone, probably Mephisto, if not Nightmare. I hope Doctor Strange doesn't just come in the last episode. Like I hope we see him next episode. So the last two is kind of like him dealing with this. Like the start of him dealing with stuff with Wanda. I think it'd be a cool dynamic to it.
Yeah,
Let's
assume that the rumor of the 10th episode isn't happening and we are only getting 9 episodes. Yeah, that's what would have to happen.
And these two are supposed to be. The last 3 were supposed to be hour long, but obviously we didn't get that. So hopefully the next 2 are at least longer. Since this time when the standby hit, I was mad. Since every episode up to this, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it's the end. But this one, I was so invested when it hit. I'm like, no, I need more.
Yeah, same. I think episode 7 was shorter than episode 6 too by a little bit, wasn't it? Like 5 minutes shorter or something. No.
I thought it was longer, if not the same time.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Anywho, yeah, it's just that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. So to jump back in, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to tune in next week, since I'm sure we'll discuss the episode 8 as its own video. And thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for coming here, for hearing 0 original ideas. You've probably heard all this somewhere else.